Good morning, everyone. My name is Yandisa Hene, and today I'll be talking to you about a topic that's very exciting. We'll be talking about marketing for entrepreneurs, and I think now more than ever at a time such as COVID, this is something that's become really relevant now that obviously a lot is happening online. So I want you to really just engage the presentation, take out your notebooks, please take out your phones, because I'll actually be asking a lot of questions. And as Nsigi has mentioned, there's a lot of spot prizes to be won as well. So you could be one of the people that wins the prizes that we're giving away. We'll be giving away prizes for logo designs, logo redesigns, social media strategy, social media strategies. So there's lots and lots and lots to engage with today. So I think a lot of you today are probably online for a number of reasons. Most of you are obviously SMMEs. You've registered your business, you probably have a product, you probably have 1 or 2 employees, or you probably actually have an office at the Sasol incubator. And I really, really would like to congratulate you for starting a business, because that is a starting point, right? Now, I'm assuming that most of you are probably logged into this particular presentation because you probably actually have a challenge. Now, your challenge could be one of the following. Either you don't have any customers and you're thinking, I need to listen into this marketing presentation to see how I can get more customers. Either you have one customer, but the biggest issue that you have is that you probably need to actually operate at scale with many customers because your product is probably slightly cheaper, so you need volume, so you need more customers. Or, worst case scenario, is you are probably impacted by COVID and you probably lost some clients. Or maybe you started your business during COVID. And you started your business during COVID and you thought, you know what, I was going to go to a Sasol event, give my business card to a Sasol procurement manager. I was going to network at the Nedbank Golfing Challenge, but now COVID has actually hit. So what do I actually do now to, firstly, get my business going, to secondly, either keep my business afloat, or thirdly, to expand my business, right? That's probably what you guys are thinking now. And now you've started to realize that marketing is actually now no longer an afterthought. It's actually something that is very critical. Now, the question that everyone asks is, where do I begin? And I know that very often with SMMEs, what tends to happen is you're excellent at your job. Let's say you're a great doctor, but you actually want to start your surgery and market your surgery. You're not great at the marketing side of it. Maybe you're a security officer and you want to start a trucking business, and that's what you're good at. But you're just not good at marketing. So there's all these questions in your mind going, where do I begin? So I want you to please just do something very simple for me, everyone online and everyone in the studio as well. I'd like you to just do a very quick exercise. All of you, can you please lift up your hands? Labello, everyone lift up your hands. And I want you to please just quickly snap. Everyone just snap. Okay. Did you see how easy that was, right? Now, if you actually think about it, there was a time where you couldn't snap your finger. I'll bet you were very young, but you couldn't do it. Remember when you were young and you kept on practicing, and then one day you were actually able to do it? And it's like, wow, you don't even remember how you got there, but after many weeks or months of practicing, you got there. And what I'm going to talk you through today, in a year's time, you're going to look at me and say, oh my God, it was actually that simple. It was just as simple as snapping my finger. Now, the first thing I'm going to say to you is, during COVID times, in 2021, and I don't care what business you are in, not building a brand on digital platforms is totally unacceptable. You are literally free-falling if you're not building a brand on a digital platform. So that's the first thing I'm going to say to you. Right? And the next question, then you'll say, but Yandisa, I am in the construction industry. My people, I've tried Facebook, I've tried this, I've tried that. It doesn't work in my industry. It probably doesn't work because you are not good at it, not because it doesn't work. So since I still have to convince you, the people, let's say in the construction industry or whatever industry you're in, let me just tell you why you should be on digital platforms. If you own a clothing business and you are offline, you're not on digital platforms, first thing is you are only speaking to your mother, your brother, your friends, and your cousins, right? And if you want more people to know about your business, it's probably your mother probably has to tell Usis May next door that my daughter is actually selling clothes, and that is your referral strategy, right? Now, the minute you're online, can you see how your point of contact completely expands? Now you are no longer just speaking to your mom and Usis May was next door. Now you are speaking to various billions of other people. Now you're speaking to your friends, strangers, acquaintances, your colleagues, everyone that is online, which is over 1 billion. Facebook on its own has over 1 billion people. So you're expanding the network of people you can speak to. That's the first reason. The second reason is, basically people, stats tell us that on average, people spend just about 3 hours a day on online. 3 hours a day online. So now, yes, that procurement manager that you're looking at Sasol, that you think is boring, that you think is old, or whatever it is, trust me, they are on social platforms. They're either interacting with their kids that are based overseas or with their granddaughters that are based somewhere else, right? Now imagine if you could have just 10 minutes of that 3 hours with your desired client. You're more likely to have an interaction with your desired client online than actually making an appointment, because you have to phone someone who knows someone who's going to get your meeting into KFC. When you get there, you realize in the meeting, oh goodness, I've actually been talking to the wrong person all along. So the costs of actually getting there is just too expensive, especially when you're an SMME. The third reason you should be online is that your competition is there, so you will be left behind. They are there. They are talking to customers whilst you are sleeping. With websites, they are talking to the customers that you are both vying for. So unless you want to get on, you want to get left behind, then I suggest you don't get on social media platforms. The other thing is that it's exceptionally cheap. You can run a Facebook ad. I ran an ad actually last week for literally 50 Rand a day. And you can set the reach that you want to reach, the number of people you want to reach. So the return on your investment is exceptionally high. So now, if I haven't convinced you that you need to get online and have a digital strategy in 2021, all I'm going to say to you is, you will be irrelevant. So before I got on stage and I started speaking, you probably thought your business was irrelevant. Now, by the time I'm done with this presentation, it will even be more irrelevant if you're not online. Now, do you guys remember that Herbalife, those of you that are much older, that used to say, lose weight now, ask me how. So I'm sure you guys have understood by now that you want to get online. Now, you probably asking me, how? Where do I now begin? Now that you've convinced me it's the right thing to do, where do I begin? The first thing I'm going to say, everyone, is it's around your target market and your audience. You need to identify your audience. But something that people don't tell you is actually segmentation is very important. Within the segment that you are targeting, you need to segment within that segment. So you need to ask yourself, right now, I want you to write it down. Who would benefit the most from my product and services? So if you are online and you run and you have a hair care brand, and you say, well, it's targeted at women, it's Amarula, it's got Amarula oil, it's got coconut oil. Okay, so I'm targeting all South African women. Okay, so which segment would benefit the most from this? Let's say you'd say maybe black women. Why? Let's say natural hair. Okay, so Amarula oil and coconut oil would work well with African hair. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying segment. And the reason I'm saying this is because there's an 80-20 rule. 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers. When I say 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers, I'm not saying that you have a long list of customers and only 20% will make you 80% of your revenue. I'm talking about a category or segment of customers. So you can be advertising to everyone. You can be advertising to FMCG. You can be advertising to, let's say, petroleum. But you need to ask yourself, which customers make me the most money? And I should be actually going after those that make me the most money in my communication. You're not excluding everyone else, but your communication needs to be focused towards the people that are making you money and that you foresee making you money. Now, if you want to take it a step further, there's a rule by Perry Marshall, which is a 120/20 rule, which is 120% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers because the rest are probably losing you money anyway. So make sure that you are clear around who your target market is, but not only who your target market is, make sure that you segment within that segment, right? That's the first thing. Now that you've identified, your job is to turn your target market's miseries. I want you to write down what the people that I am giving, that I am actually servicing, what are their tensions? What are the things that make them unhappy? What are the things that make them miserable, right? So I want you to write that down on the left-hand side. And then what you then need to do on the right-hand side is, what would be a miracle for my target market? What does great look like? And then how does our service, how does our product bridge that gap between what makes them miserable and what would be a miracle? And the simplest way to put it to you is this, is that you need to be a painkiller and not a vitamin. A painkiller deals with the headache and with the issue right now. You need to deal with your customer's issue right now. So understand, what is their issue right now? A vitamin, it's in the long term. You don't need to know what is their issue in the long term because they're not interested in buying from you now. You need to actually be a painkiller, don't forget that, and not a vitamin. That's the one thing, okay? Now that you've identified your target market, what their pain points are, the most important thing now becomes messaging. Now I know that Sasol is who I'm targeting, but now the question is, what do I say to Sasol? Now, this is where specialization comes in. Have you guys ever met someone and you're like, what do you do? And they're like, I'm a Forex trader, Bitcoin, I own a security company. And you sit there and you are just so confused. Like, really, what do you do? And they tell you, you need to plug me in all the places you go. And you think, how am I going to plug you when there's so many things that you do? So one thing that's important when you're crafting your messaging is understanding your specialization. So write down, what is your specialization? What do we do best? And what I'm saying is, if you are in property, that is your specialization. Obviously, within property, there's residential, there's commercial, and that is fine. What I'm saying is, don't come to Sasol and say, I'm in commercial property, and then you say, I also sell ice cream and I do hair. That is basically where I'm going with this, okay? So the next thing is then differentiation. I know you guys have heard it so many times. What I mean by differentiation is obviously what do we do best and what differentiates us from our competitors. But really the thing is, it needs to be something that matters most to your customers. So if I come to Sasol and I say, you know, I'm an innovation and marketing consultant, and you know why I'd actually be the best is because out of all the people that have submitted their documents, I'm probably the best looking, right? That could be my differentiation. Sasol is going to look at me and say, well, we don't care. We need the person who's the most efficient, the most creative, and the most strategic. So just be sure that when you are saying that you are different, it's for real. You're actually crafting things that actually matter to your client. So sit down and just think about it right now. What matters to my client, not what matters to me, okay? Now, obviously, we want to get the attention of the client. So you've started understanding the messaging that you need to get across. Now you need to get the attention. Now, guys, to be honest with you, I've seen this so many times. So many times. I'm advising you, as you're crafting your messaging, don't go with a sale message. Don't go with the discount message right now if you're not established or if you're a relatively new SMME that's listening in, right? And I want to give you an example. So I don't know, ladies, whether in the studio or whether online, have you ever been to a bar or a nightclub or a restaurant, or even gentlemen actually, and someone walks, and I'll say ladies because obviously I'm a lady, and someone walks up to you and they offer to buy you a drink. And wow, okay, that's great. And then immediately after they've asked you to buy you a drink, they then ask, oh, can I take you home? Do you know how irritating, I'm sure the ladies understand that is? It's, oh wow, we've just met, we've just had this engagement, and now you want to take me home, right? You realize how off-putting that is. So now translate it into business. In the business context, a little romance with your customers goes a long way. Romance your customers. Similar to if you're on a date, someone that takes your number, calls you tomorrow, what do you enjoy doing, etc. You may warm up to that person, right? So with your customers, actually romance your customers. Understand what they like. So when you communicate your messaging, communicate a message of value. What value am I bringing to you? Not what can I buy from you. So if you're sitting online right now, I want you to actually articulate right now, what value do you bring to your customers? And in your messaging, that's what I want you to communicate. It's the value that you bring to your customers. And remember, you bring value into your business when you bring value into the world. That is how you bring value into your business. So now that we've got the target market, we've got the messaging, I'm sure a messaging of value. Now you're asking me, okay, Yandisa, where do I put all of this, right? And this is where, guys, content creation comes in, right? What is content creation? A lot of people think it's some buzzword, exciting or difficult. Content creation, for instance, I'm on stage now. There's a photographer taking a picture. He's going to send that picture to me. I'm going to post it online. That is content creation. When this video is done, if Sassol allows, I'll ask for the recording, I'll post it online. That is content. Now then, let me simplify it in the context of your business. You own a plant hire business. Do you know what content is? I walk in whilst the guys are busy doing whatever they're doing with my machinery. I'm taking a picture of what they're doing. I go to Facebook or Instagram and I say, ooh, the guys are hard at work today. That is content. So I think you've got the gist of what I mean. So content can be audio, it can be a visual, or it can be a video, right? And all I'm going to say to you guys is the most important thing is choose content, the content options you have, choose one that you are comfortable with. If you do not like the sound of your voice, then don't do a video, do a blog. If you think writing is what you do best, do a blog. If you don't like the sound of your voice, just take pictures of what you are doing at work and post that. But what I'm going to say to you, advice that I'm giving you, is that video is the most engaging piece of content. So ideally, when you do post, if you want to get as many likes, responses, engagement, create video, even if it doesn't have you in it, okay? Got that. Now, someone else can say, but oh my goodness, I don't have fancy photographers. I want to ask everyone that's online today, do you have a cell phone? If your answer is yes, you have a cell phone, then my response to you is, if you have a cell phone, you can create content. You don't need to be a videographer, okay? So now, what I've shown you is, now you understand the segment, now you're going to communicate a message of value, and now you've decided, I'm going to show my potential customer the value I bring by showing them the beautifully built houses that my construction company has done. But now, here's the thing, Yandisa, I've got this message, I've got this customer, and I've got this content on my phone. But now how do I actually get it out? How do I disseminate this information? There's so many things. Now with the young teenagers, it's TikTok. 1 minute, it's, for people that want to date, there's Tinder, there's WhatsApp, there's so many things. Which platforms, as an SMME, that does not have a budget, where should I actually begin, right? You will be shocked at the number of SMMEs that I come across that don't have a website. So many of you do not have websites. Guys, the first thing I'm going to say, your website is an anywhere, anytime, anyone communication billboard. Even when you are sleeping, you're communicating your product, you're communicating your brand, and you're also collecting information from your potential customers. I know that to established SMMEs that have probably been in the game for a year or 2 or 3, you probably do have a website. I can tell you now, the number of SMMEs that don't have websites that I come across, probably the young under 2 years SMMEs, even some under 10 years don't have websites, right? So do you want to wake up at 12 midnight and communicate your proposition when your website can? I don't think so. The next question you're going to ask is, but I can't afford to develop a website. Well, I've got good news for you, and you can actually write it down, is there is a platform and a website called www.wix.com. So it's wixsite.com, well, wix.com. It's the Wix site, basically. So what Wix is, it's an easy, free way that entrepreneurs can create your websites. So guys, if you're sitting there and you feel like, wow, you've opened up my eyes about needing to be online, if you don't have money, please can you go onto the wixsite.com. Firstly, there's basic tutorials, and not only are there basic tutorials, but you can actually do a mock-up of your site that you can actually view beforehand. And if you need all this information, we can share it afterwards. But SMMEs that don't have a budget, this is where you should first go to, right? Now, the next thing I'm going to say is, if you are either developing it yourself or you're getting someone to develop it, make sure that it is search engine optimized. Now, guys, search engine is a very technical term. So I'm going to make sure that I just do it in layman's terms, just to make sure that your website organically, when people type a service in your industry, tends to rank up higher than any other websites. It won't be number 1, but it could rank up higher. That when people type, I'm looking for a hairstylist or a hair or dressmaker, it actually ranks up slightly higher than other websites. So for an SMME, we don't want you to get technical. Just make sure that on your website, to be SEO optimized, you use words and titles and headings. When you're developing your website on the Wix site, you use titles, headings that are relevant to your industry, right? So if you're in plant hire, you'll probably have hire me or construction. So use words that are relevant to your industry. And then off page, what you want to do is that if you have friends or other businesses, for instance, ask them to tag your website or to tag your website on whatever they post, because then Google will start to see that, okay, this is a serious website, because people from outside are actually tagging this person's website. So your ranking also improves. So that's as technical as I'm going to get with SEO, because it does get very, very, very technical. Now, other platforms to get on. So we've said you need a website. That's a starting point. Make sure it's optimized. Guys, social. If you are a business-to-business business, you need to be on Facebook. Your business needs to be on Facebook, right? And I will go into the reasons at a later slide, right? And LinkedIn. How many of you online are on LinkedIn, right? You know that LinkedIn has surpassed Facebook as the top marketing platform for companies, right? But business to business specifically, if you're speaking to business, right? So chances are, if you're a business, you should be on LinkedIn or Facebook. Now, if you are a B2C customer, right? And I'll go into the detailed reasons why. I don't see any of you on Facebook. Guys, do you know that Facebook has got 18-year-olds to 60-year-olds on its platforms? 18 to 60. The market that you are over 1 billion subscribers on Facebook. So if you are talking to consumers, you should be on Facebook. And I'll go into the reasons. But Instagram, if you are in a visual business, so I own a bakery, I own a photography business, right? I own a clothing business, I own a hairdressing business. All those visual businesses, right now, you should actually get onto Instagram. And Twitter can be very tricky, and I don't want to get into trouble for this, right? But I would say, if you don't know what to say, don't go onto Twitter yet, because it's really more of an information sharing platform. And people share their thoughts immediately on Twitter. So I'm just saying prioritize Facebook and Instagram if you're B2C. Now, I know all of you are going to say, and this is what some of my entrepreneurs say, Yandisa, asna mali. I can't, and I don't have resources. I can't be on all these things. You've spoken about LinkedIn, you've spoken about website, you've spoken about Facebook, you've spoken about so many things, and I can't. I've got a family to feed, I've got mouths at home, I've got to get home, rush home, back to my wife. I'm just busy. What is the one platform? If you can say, forget it all, what is the one platform that I should be on as a business? Whether I'm speaking to consumers, whether I'm speaking to business. Guys, without a doubt, Facebook. Without a doubt. And I know most people are sitting and thinking, but isn't Facebook outdated? Guys, it has the most number of people on it. So your reach is going to be much wider, right? And also, these are the reasons why I'm saying Facebook. Firstly, you can create a business page. All of us by now, I don't know if you know this, but you can create a business page. Not only can you create a business page, but Facebook links to Instagram, right? It's owned by the same people, right? Also, you can target. So, I'm giving you a live example. I had a talk last week, right? And it was about finance for entrepreneurs, etc., but I was speaking to someone about it. And some of the programs on offer were around the unrest and looting, right? And provinces that were impacted were Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. So I go onto Facebook to advertise, but I'm specific. I want Gauteng, I want, and I want KwaZulu-Natal. So that's how specific you can get. Then they say, okay, then you go, okay, do I just want Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal? No. I also want only people that own businesses there. Those are their interests. So then I go, okay, SMMEs or entrepreneurs, right? Then it goes, okay, Yandisa, there's about 2 million of those, fine. Do you want to get even more intricate? Do you want to spend 1,000 Rand a day? Then I go, oh no, I'm not spending 1,000 Rand a day. So I'm actually going to talk to those people for 100 Rand a day. So I then set the target at 100 Rand a day, right? Then I go, this event is going to be on Wednesday. It's actually, okay guys, the advertising was rather late, but it was Sunday, granted. I actually only want it for 3 days, right? Then I put it there for 3 days. And then it connects to my banking details that I've connected, and I push and it promotes, right? Then every day, up until that 3 days, I'm logging online to check, okay, we've now reached 4,000 people. Okay, 50% are coming from Gauteng and 50% from KwaZulu-Natal. 52% is women. The rest is actually men, right? So that's how specific it gets. Then I want to check engagement. How many people are engaging with my post? In other words, how many people are sharing my post? How many people are commenting? And then it gives you the engagement rate as well, right? And just as a matter of interest, I know most of you are young SMMEs, but a great engagement rate, the target is 1%. My post was getting 6%. So basically, I was overachieving in 3 days. But anyway, that's not the point of the talk. But you get my drift, right? So when the talk was done, it then shared the insights with me. And I also was able to actually set a reminder for the event for the people that were going to be attending. So guys, what I'm trying to explain to you is the level of detail in which you can reach your potential customer and why you should be on Facebook, right? Now, people ask me, how often should I post? Guys, those of you that have done marketing or actually done have got marketing textbooks, but have never actually had an opportunity to practice, I'm sure they tell you need to do a calendar. And yes, guys, I promise you need to do a calendar, a 3-month or 6-month calendar, right? But for you young SMMEs, all I'm going to say, leave you with one thing: quantity over quality, right? People want to get their posts perfect. You spend 2 hours thinking about your post. The person who is viewing your post sees it for maybe a second or 10 seconds. They're not overthinking it. So quantity, post as much as you can. Everything that you are doing in your business, post as much as you can. Once you get experience like me, you can then start putting together calendars. For now, it's quantity over quality. And then I'm sure there's so many people that I've heard who go, oh, I'm such a private person. I don't want people knowing my business. Guys. Firstly, no one is interested in your business. Okay, let's just start there, right? You are interested in your business. If you want people to buy from you and know your business, then yes. But don't post your private life. I don't post my private life on my social media page. Only post your business, anything related to your business. And no one is waking up in the morning thinking, I wonder what Temba has posted today. Trust me on this. Right? And also, if you have a great service and you have a great product, why would you not want the world to know about it? You are doing everyone else that can learn and gain from you a disservice. Okay. Now, the other digital platform is obviously email. Okay. Now, guys, please, we are talking about email to existing customers, because there's a lot of platforms where you can actually buy a data and you can send automated emails, but the click rate is exceptionally low. So what I would recommend is email. Look at your existing customer list. The number of times that I've spoken to businesses, and they'll say to me, McDonald's used to be my client. And I'm like, what happened to that relationship? Oh, they just never called me again. And I'm thinking, really? You've got the contact details of someone sitting in McDonald's that once gave you business, and you never thought of reaching out to them again? So if you are shy, don't call them. Send an email and keep it personable and keep it as relatable as possible. Don't add a catalog, because remember what I said to you is value, not sale. Okay. Now, I've spoken to you about the various platforms, how you can go about it. The question then I want to ask, which I need all of you to respond to, so you can win a prize, which is 3 logo designs. If you have a logo, potential to refresh your logo, you'll be given 3 designs, but also the branding, look and feel of your business, which will then be rolled out to all your other business elements, such as mugs, such as letterheads, etc. So if you want to win this, the question is, and please just get ready, if you don't have a large budget, whether you're communicating to customers or whether you're communicating to a business, what is the one platform that you should be on as an entrepreneur? Okay, so that is the question. So please respond, because I'm going to check soon and one of you would have won. So now, at this point, guys, I've told you how to segment your customers, what you should be saying to them, the kind of content you should be using, whether it's video or static, and the various platforms that you can put it on. Now, someone is going to look at me and say, guys, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to build my brand. I need to eat now, and I need to put money on the table. Right? Okay. So basically, you want the sale, and you want it now, is basically what you're saying. So you can, you can't go to your customer probably because you probably need to make an appointment and people are not meeting with each other, right? So what I would say, guys, then, slightly more expensive, but you can then go to Google AdWords. I want you guys to go to Google AdWords, right? And I want to use an example, right? And Tsigi is sitting right here, and I'm going to use her as part of my example. And I want you guys on the other side to take out your phones. I want you to Google plumbing, just Google plumbing services or Google plumbing business. So Tsigi, please can you Google plumbing for me? Because I want you guys to get an example of what this is. All of you on your phones, Google plumbing, okay? So Ntsigi, what is the first thing you see when you've Googled Google public plumbing services?
I see an
Advert?
for 24-hour plumbing service, same-day delivery.
Okay.
And they are called Savvy Plumbing. And then there's another advert. There's like the first 4 options are adverts.
Okay.
And then it gives me a list of plumbers close to me by area.
Okay, so Ntsigi is seeing 4 adverts, right, from plumbing services, right? So just in case you guys think that Ntsigi and I paid her to say that, let me then ask Lebelo, did you Google plumbing services? You don't have data. So who else would Google plumbing services? Yes? Okay. So guys, can you see the 2 ladies that I met today? Both see, the first thing they see is ads, right? And for plumbing businesses. So the point that I'm trying to make is that if you own a plumbing business and you don't have an ad, a Google ad running, chances are you are probably on page number 2 or 3 of Google. So Ntsigi is highly likely to call one of the 4 businesses that come up on her page. So with Google AdWords, it just means that you are paying so that when people Google services in your industry, you obviously are your website is one of the top, comes up on the first page. And obviously it depends on how much you pay for it, because it tends to get expensive, and then you start paying per click, etc. So with Google AdWords, what's nice about it is that you are catching people when they have an intent. They have an intent to buy. Ntsigi was looking for plumbing, so she's got the money, and she's ready, and she's got the time. It's just that she needed to go on Google. It's actually like a mall. So if you say, I want the sale now, then I recommend that you invest in Google AdWords, okay? Now, guys, I don't know what more I can do to convince you that you need to be on digital platforms. I've told you that's how you can build your brand, but not only that, that's how you can get a sale now, right, which is what most of you want. Now the question is, who is responsible for marketing in your business? And remember, most of you probably don't have 10 people, some of you may, but when you start a business, when I started my business, it was just me, my room, well, not my room, but my apartment and the floor. That was it, right? I get so many people who say, yo, you know what, I've got a young cousin there at home. He's very good with these things. Technology, it's his thing. So maybe I can ask him to help me, right? If you want, you can call me. But if you don't want to pay, and there's only 2 of you, or it's just a one-man show, I am so sorry to tell you this. Your cousin is not responsible for your marketing. That teenage cousin of yours that is good with Twitter or TikTok. The person who is responsible for marketing in your business is you. You are responsible for the marketing. Even if there's 2 of you and your partner is better at it, in the early stages of your business, you have to be involved in your marketing, guys. You absolutely have to be involved in what is going out there, what is being posted, what are people saying at the start of your business. Only once you grow and you're a fully fledged entity can you outsource it. But at the start, you need to be involved, okay? And if you need maybe graduates, there's also so many graduate programs where you can actually get graduates on board that can assist you with the posting. But when it comes to the messaging and who it's targeted at, you as the SME are responsible for that marketing, okay? Now, the one thing I'm going to close this conversation off on is to say, you know, like I've said, you now know who to target, you know what to say to them, you know which platforms to go on, you know who's responsible for marketing. Now, the final thing is a lot of people see marketing as an expense, right? Guys, if you do have that extra 500 Rand a month, if you do have that extra 1,000 Rand a month, if you can see people in your business as an asset and an investment, which is absolutely the case, I really, really, really need you to start seeing marketing as an investment. You will get a return on it. Sometimes it may not be immediate, like a property. If you buy an investment property, you see the returns after a few years. But I want you to reframe your thinking of marketing. Marketing is not an expense. It is one of your greatest company investments. So with that, I hope you guys have gotten a lot out of this presentation, and I hope you are engaged, and I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you get on digital platforms, not yesterday, but now. But most importantly, I'm sure now you guys are probably wondering who has won the prize, right? So there is a winner, and the winner's name is Sibu Zulu. So well done, Sibu. Thank you for engaging with the presentation, and I hope you have a lovely day further. Thank you.
That was Yandisa, ladies and gentlemen. She's a chief innovator. And I'm sure you could hear just by the way she was talking and everything she had to say around marketing that you're like, okay, I need to get my act together. And just to touch on some of the comments coming through, Eddington, thank you so much for engaging. He says, beautiful content, thank you. Anastasia says, thank you for categorizing the various platforms. It aligns with what we are currently doing, although we are adverse to Twitter. It's okay, start with what you feel comfortable with doing. Andrew says, love everything you have already covered. Branding, fantastic. Deboho says, Yandi, indeed, the brand is not far-fetched. You can use and create it with anything as long as it makes sense. And then also comments around advertising. And then Hoisa saying, great and informative presentation. Guys, thank you so much for engaging. Please keep the comments coming through. We want to hear from you. And as I mentioned, we will be giving away spot prizes. So there's one prize down, 3 to go, including a prize that's valued at 25,000 Rand, and that's coming up around your brand. And then we did mention that for those of you who engage the most throughout today's session, at the end we will then be sharing with you and contacting you for those of you who will win a copy of my book, My Hall of Mentors. That brings us to the end of this session. I do want to remind you to keep engaging on the app, but also go onto social media and follow us at Sasol SA and share with us. Use the hashtag Build to Last SME. And hashtag Sasol and Society. We will be back at 12:30, so go stretch, go breathe, go woosa, go connect with people on the app and see if you can find your new business partner. The easiest thing to do is just ask. So if you're looking for someone to help with your social media, let me see you in the comments. Go, hey, can anyone here do social media? And that could be your next business contact. We'll see you at 12:30 when we go into our next session.